Welcome to the National Conclave being held by Remold. The topic of today's National Conclave is Pandemic versus People, Apprehensions, Expectations, Adjustments and Resolutions in 2021. A holistic approach towards sustainable and stable life. Remold. Be the winner. Don't be a loser. This is an essential platform for motivation, personality development, leadership, corporate training, and APPREHENSIONS and the UGC NET. We conduct national level events to bring awareness. Be the winner, don't be a loser is our tagline. People in the present scenario have been facing several tumultuous changes both in their lives and professional arenas. They need confidence, satisfaction, and meaning in their lives. Remold builds confidence and makes people feel less anxious and more dynamic within the sphere of their active life events and professional journey. We at Remold are committed to provide the meaningful training in both leadership and corporate training, meeting the expectations of the novice trainers, educational institutions, and various other corporate bodies in serving rightly for the better output and excellence. The aspirants of University Grants Commission approved state level eligibility test APPREHENSIONS and National Eligibility Test NET will be guided perfectly during the preparation to get qualified as the lecturers and the assistant professors. We train all sections of people for their exponential growth in the professions they are in. Students will be trained for better emotional intelligence. Teachers, employees, and budding entrepreneurs will be trained for their upskilling, reskilling, and better enhancement of attitudinal change towards embracing the change in achieving the outstanding results in their professions. Quality is our motto. Making our stakeholders win is our mission. We welcome all the delegates and the participants for this fantastic session. Dr. T. Santamarai, Associate Professor, VELS, Institute of Science and Technology and Advanced Studies, Chennai. She believes in the holistic transformation of knowledge. Her research interests include linguistics, literature, and second language teaching. She is equally interested in writing, creative writing, and critical writing. Mrs. Tarandeep is an entrepreneur, a passionate hospitality professional, a certified trainer and coach, and an author in making. An IMT Ghaziabad alumnus, Tarandeep is an award-winning marketing and communications specialist, recognized for launching a number of hospitality and real estate brands in the country. Ms. Aryapadam Charusila is currently working as a consultant in the Higher Education Department of Andhra Pradesh State Government. She has done MSc Education at the University of Edinburgh and an integrated MA in Social Sciences at IIT Madras. She has worked in various environments ranging from teaching children in primary school, kindergarten to class 7, working on an international collaborative education project and organizing India's largest online course. Mrs. Lakshmi Prasad is a leadership and soft skill trainer with over 2 decades of professional experience in diverse areas of government relations, research and marketing, client relationship management, business development, telemarketing, sales and soft skill training. She has 2 children and takes a great interest in music. She staunchly believes that leaders are not born but molded. Mrs. Gayatri Ravindran is a life and a parenting coach, and an experienced special needs educator with expertise in using technology in the classroom and beyond. Mrs. Thakilambam Rocky Devi was born in Imphal, Manipur. She did her schooling from Navodaya Vidyalaya in the CBSE board. She received her graduation in BSc Physics from Northeastern Hill University, Shillong in 2004. Received Master of Business Administration degree from the Anna University with distinction. She has qualified for the State Eligibility Test SAT in Management in 2012. She has also worked in the industry for almost 3 years and has more than 9 years of academic experience. She has submitted her PhD thesis and currently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Management Studies at B.S. Abdur Rahman Crescent Institute of Science and Technology, BSA CIST. She also has the administrative responsibility as the director in charge for the Center for International Relations at BSA CIST. Her motto in the profession is to impart and share the knowledge and skills to improve the wisdom amongst. Mr. Mahesh Matt Krishnan comes with 30 years of global corporate experience in the US. He has served in the business leadership roles at Fortune 100 firms such as 3M, GE, and Chevron. Mr. Krishnan was also adjunct faculty at the University of Houston, Texas, in the Business Management program. He is a certified public speaker by Toastmasters International USA and alumni of the Indian Academy of Training and Development. Mr. Krishnan has a master's in industrial engineering from Northeastern University, Boston. He is also an alumnus of the Harvard University Executive Program in Management. Dr. Sonal Gaur is a homeopath, clinical cosmetologist, master hospital management, and passionate creative person, and believer in a holistic approach to healing. She has 5 years of clinical experience and also worked in the hospital administration wing at a super specialty hospital. She is working in the arena of creating health and beauty awareness and motivating people. That's all about our today's guest. Wow, what a fantastic and extraordinary backgrounds. Today, we would like to give you a rich diet of ideas to give you a better feast for your brains. I thank once again all the participants on behalf of Remold and especially the guests for having accepted as well as consented to our invitation to give us the better ideas to spread all the good vibes across the nation and international categories. Today, we have two delegates from two different countries. One is from Nigeria and the other country is Bangladesh. That gives us a lot of confidence and satisfaction that we could do something better to provide you the valuable guidance as well as the inputs. Now let's get started. This being a national conclave, it's expected that the participants would have more ideas after having listened to. Yes, thank you very much, Mahesh sir. It's an international conclave now for a common cause and betterment of entire society across the world. We have so many questions, untold miseries. In the last 10 months, the world, not even India, the world has seen a very big threat. It has experienced and has gone up to the level where it has forgotten that whether it could really be alive at times. It came all the way, it just has happened as no one could really presume and even was not in a position to understand to what extent it would move further. Cutting across all the sections, the government mechanisms have been strictly deployed. Still, it was beyond our reach and expectations. From rank and file, all the sections, big firms, common population, all the activities of the government, and our lives have been paralyzed. This is not something which we have not experienced in the last, I believe, 88 decades. As it is said in the history, as many as 90 to 95 years ago, there was a very big outbreak of a pandemic of this sort, but we don't know exactly. To discuss the future proximity and the possibilities to have the better life and with a new normal as things have changed and issues which have taught us certain lessons, education systems, business organizations, entrepreneurs, investors, and agriculture on a larger scale have been battered, which we have not expected. Now, our guests are rather particular about these aspects. With all their versatile genius, composition, and the rich thoughts, they would like to give us valuable inputs. Right before we initiate this talk, I have a question for Dr. Sonal Gaur. Dr. Sonal Gaur is from New Delhi. Ma'am, over to you. My question is, what is important in order to protect ourselves in pandemic?
Okay, thank you so much, Naga, and all the attendees for making me a part of this conclave. So, when it comes to protection against COVID 19, first we need to understand what COVID 19 is. So, COVID 19 is not a single strain of virus, it's a group of virus. And a virus which is so deadly that till now we don't have any treatment line available against it. Otherwise also it's a viral disease, right? So only the nature is the only protection we have against this virus. Until now we are, whatever the scenarios in is in the worldwide situation, only mother nature in the form of capability it gives us to fight against infection is working against it. Now, before getting into what are the precautions, first let us understand who are the people who are under the risk of getting infected easily and who need to be more cautious while dealing with the precautions. So, the people, those who are 65-year and above age, are found more vulnerable for getting infected by this infection, or rather develop more severe symptoms or adversities out of this virus. Secondly, the people, those who are immunocompromised, like the people on steroids, the people who are like cancer patients and all, they are at risk. Then the people who are working in the healthcare facility, our frontline health workers, they are also at risk. Also, people with underlying disease like diabetes, mellitus, and other debilitating disease, they are also, those people are also at risk. People with serious heart condition and people with chronic lung diseases, they are also at risk. So all these people really needs to take care of themselves and need to follow the precautionary measures more, I would say, more seriously and religiously than the other people, right? But it doesn't mean that other don't have to follow those precautions, right? Now if we look at this infection, we need to understand that precaution is important because this infection is so deadly that first it transmits easily from person to person. The rate of transmission is 1 is to 2.2, which is as per the statistic. That means one person can easily infect two people comes in contact with it. Secondly, the symptoms, they are, the time period, or the period of the symptoms actually to exhibit is 2 to 14 days. And it has been seen that after the symptoms are declined, then also at least for 48 hours you need to be in isolation, because you might be a carrier for the infection. You may not be experiencing the symptom, but you are capable enough to infect it to other people in your family and nearby, right? Thirdly, the hospitalization rate of this infection is quite high, means the severe symptoms, development of the severe symptom is quite higher, like 19% people out of the people infected by this virus, which is much higher than the normal flu or any other respiratory illnesses we are experiencing. And also the death rate are also towards the higher side, like 1 to 3.4%, which is which is almost like 10 times higher than the death caused by flu, which is 0.1% only. So all these things makes this infection really a serious concern for us, and that is why the precautions are become necessary and very important for us to follow them. Now,
Well,
when it comes to the precautions,
right.
so I believe there are two kind of precautions which we need to take. I divide them in two category. First, the precautions which we need to take externally to avoid ourselves get infected, and secondly, to develop our own immunity, so that if in case we encounter this infection, the only treatment line, as I said, is our immunity, which is acting against it. So we need to boost that or
Right.
maintain that.
Right.
So when
Now,
it comes,
here we have a loaded question with regard to this pandemic. So let
yes.
me ask Mr. Mahesh Krishnan, Matso, what consumer and business trends are emerging from pandemic? Or to you, Mahesh sir.
Now I'm unmuted. Good morning. Happy Sunday to all. Thank you, Naga, sir, for the platform and the great bringing together of minds here. An important topic as we reflect on the new year coming up. And so clearly, being here in the conclave itself is an example of change in, lifestyle, quality of life. I just had breakfast, and then 1 minute later, I was able to log in. I mean, if you had to be in a real conference, by the time you go through the logistics, your half the energy is spent on getting in and out and wandering around and all that. Now you get right to the essence of it. It's all, I think it's an example of the future. And the positive side of, the pandemic is that it is able people to get closer virtually, but it needs some adaptation, right? But what I believe is one of the more remarkable aspects of the pandemic is the adaptation, the human adaptation around the world. It just gives me great respect towards humanity that this pandemic is bringing out the best in them, because there's nobody to blame. I mean, this is not a human villain. I mean, it's something that everybody is fighting against, and of course the people who don't take it seriously, etc., might be transmitters of it, and so they are in a way the only villains in the picture. But otherwise, those who attempt to make to be preventive in sort of being careful in the mask, etc., wherever needed, are truly the important heroes of getting this down. But when I look at the news of the vaccine being around the corner and so on, I think sometime in mid 2021, everyone who wants a vaccine probably can have it, and we should be able to breathe a sigh of relief within about 3 to 6 months. And so, yeah, whilst some of the trends that we're seeing, there is going to be also the return to normalcy in many ways, whether it's socially or in terms of the cultural, the entertainment of going out and meeting people and the restauranting, all that. That is what will come back. But some of the technology-related communications don't need to really reverse. And so you might want to consider some of these more permanent trends because of the sheer convenience and the saving of energy and the planet and the ongoing, climate disruption because everybody's driving. Right. And so now I think people are smart enough to know that they're saving energy and getting the job done. Those who are fortunate enough to have those jobs. Now, but more than any of those types of things, I think even for businesses and otherwise, the need of the hour is compassion, because we know that everybody is impacted with some degree or the other. Some of us have not been very heavily impacted because we had some insulation at this stage in our lives, but some of the younger people, etc., I mean, so they're going through more stress than usual. So we need to have an extra compassion, consideration, and givingness during this time, besides our own adaptation, right? Because we are a very mixed, multi-layered society. I mean, within our own household, you'll have 3 layers of people. I mean, you'll have, your maybe a maid and driver, etc., and then yourselves, and then somebody else who lives on another level. And so, just more consideration for the people who are less fortunate and more impacted. And I think if we've, been able to maintain our staff and not really cut their services, you're doing a great thing right there. I try to leave my employees unchanged during the course of this, but there's only so much, right? I mean, I think by mid next year, if I'm able to carry it through, then I'll feel good about the fact that I didn't, undergo any major cuts, etc. But in terms of technology, we know that it's online. I mean, you look at the stocks, for example. I mean, not that it's, the main indicator, but the FANG stocks in the US is basically all technology stocks: Facebook, Apple, Amazon, and Netflix, and all these guys have gone through like 100% change in volume, 50% increase in valuation in 3 months or 6 months of the pandemic, right? And so it's because they are actually lifesavers. We are lucky to have the online option because life actually carried on. Imagine the world of the pandemic without the online world, where there's, it's very, very limiting. And many of us didn't miss a beat in terms of any of the stuff that we needed to get
Right.
because the online virtual world is there. Now, so we do have to get more savvy and more used to it, but I think people are smart enough to know that this is easier and better. And so I don't think it's going to be a hard adaptation. And so it's always, easy to go with something that's effective and simpler, right? So I think the digital world, the online world is going to be something that, everyone from 7 years to 70 years old is going to be on it. I see it around me all the time. I know 7-year-olds are constantly do gaming and this online and talking to friends around the world.
Yeah.
Their social life is undisrupted because they've got people from around the world. They're talking, chatting, and playing. Right? That's a 7-year-old's world. My 70-year-old mom is online with a yoga and all these discussions of scriptures and all that. And that's another end of the application, right? You see the whole range of applications. There's a billion stories of adaptation here to be told. And so I think people are beautiful in the way they adjusted, and they're going through this collectively, and it's a great level up because everyone is at risk and everyone has been impacted. Great.
That must be a very decent and exponential factor which you have covered, dear sir. So I would get back to you. Here we have Lakshmi Prasad, ma'am. She's from Chennai. Ma'am, how COVID has changed the world? Would like to listen from you.
Thank you, Naga. And we just heard Dr. Goa and Mr. Mahesh talk about it. So, what has actually changed? The pandemic has changed how we work, how we learn, how we interact, as social distancing guidelines have led to a more virtual existence. We just heard from Mr. Mahesh telling us how his 70-year-old mom is into yoga and all that. That is what it is. I think societies are learning to adapt to the virtual world faster than what they expected pre-COVID times. Children doing their online classes, people working from home. Earlier, we would always say, don't bring your work home. Things have changed today. And social distancing forces societies away from physical interaction. The virtual world is also becoming more innovative and creative. This is the right example. We are all sitting here across the country, across the global, and discussing about this. This is what the technology has brought us today. It has changed the way countries and individuals approach in their health and healthcare in a way both negative and positive. Unsurprisingly, the pandemic has triggered a wave of mental illness like depression, addiction, domestic violence, and the general stress. Societies which fail to adapt to new technology and adapt new innovation at work, life, and health is post-COVID will fail to survive if they don't adapt to these things.
That must be so great, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving us valuable inputs on this. And now it's my pleasure to invite Aryapadnam Charusila, ma'am. She's from Kerala, Trivandrum, working in Andhra Pradesh as a consultant in the government of Andhra Pradesh sector. Now, ma'am, over to you. The question for you is, how have you been handling stress during the pandemic? You're an employee and you travel a lot, and your answer would help us understand the scenario.
A very good morning to one and all. It's a privilege to be part of this conclave. I thank you, sir, for inviting me as a special guest. I really feel honored to be part with uh, wonderful people. And as everyone was saying, pandemic has taken a toll on all of our lives. And stress is something that you can't take away from your life, and especially because of the pandemic, the impact that it has had on each and everyone's life is in different ways. But as you said, sir, I work in the government sector, and as whatever happens, the government doesn't stop functioning. So we had to start working. It was only during the lockdown we were allowed to be at our homes, but the concept of work from home has not been implemented in government sector. If the government stop functioning, then the society itself stops functioning. So we had to be back in work in May. So at that time, stress was there. I wouldn't say it wasn't there. It was hard to go to office when everyone is sitting at home, and they then everyone is maintaining social distance and maintaining all the protocols that the government is telling them to do, while we are trying to figure out. I work in the higher education department, and so we were trying to figure out how will we make sure that the students finish the syllabus, how will we make sure that the education system continues, how will we make sure that the graduates will get the degree, and how will they move forward. So we had a lot to look into. And as Krishna sir was saying, the technologies are now being utilized, and that was one thing we were concentrating on. So handling stress at that point was very crucial. And at that time, what really helped was being with people who would understand you, especially my colleagues, and being with people who were supportive, as in friends, family. And obviously technology helped a lot, because as previously I will have to say, I'll have to quote what Krishna sir said, because a 7-year-old is playing games with people all around the world, while his sir's mom was doing yoga. So we also had to do different things, because previously, pre-pandemic, we could go out, we could hang out with friends, but right now it was just work and going back home. So it was mostly balancing your life in a way that you are doing things that will make sure that you are not feeling lonely. You are tackling the inequality, tackling the drama, the tackling what the stress that is going on, and making sure to be motivated, and to make sure you are taking care of your mental health. That is what I will say we, because I was staying with my colleagues, and it was mostly activity that we did together, because we knew we have to be there for each other. So I think that's what helped me, and I think that's what everyone has to look into at this time, and post COVID also. That is something everyone has to look into, to take care of their own mental health, to make sure that you take steps to not to affect your mental health, and be emotionally strong and motivated to look forward to the future that is there. Thank you, sir.
That must be a very great idea and great thought. Thank you so much for your great ideas, ma'am. Now, in the series, Dr. Sonalji, over to you. So, you are a doctor, and that too, you stay in the capital city. I know people are so curious to know something about pandemic on one hand. On the other hand, as a doctor, you could have seen various milestones in the last 8 9 months. There is a kind of conjecture. People say vaccine is going to be effective. This is not effective. That is effective. And even ordinary people who receive daily messages, all masala messages in the WhatsApp, they tend to follow all the videos. Whatever they find, they just implement it. Even I have implemented many, kind of recipes that have been shared over the window. But as a doctor, what do you feel about this? My question is, what do you think about efficacy of COVID vaccine? Will it have any, complications afterwards? Is it going to be something that we are going to have it in urgency? So, what's your take on this?
Well, Naga sir, as far as the vaccine is concerned, it is the only, I would say, the only ray of hope, right, in this epidemic situation, as a treatment line. As I said, it is a viral infection. Until now, the treatment which we are giving to the patients are usually supportive. Any be it allopathy, homeopathy, Ayurveda, they are just working as a supportive line of treatment. And the only hope people are expecting is vaccine, right? But there is a lot of hype, as you said. That lot of apprehensions are going on related to vaccine and all. So before understanding those apprehension, their validity, better we understand first what vaccine is actually, because people don't know about it. I want to share the screen right now to tell that what vaccine is all about. Could you give me the rights?
Yes, yes, I'm going to. Yes.
Okay. My screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, it's coming.
Yes, yes.
Yes, right. So what is vaccine? Vaccine is basically the key ingredient of a vaccine is the antigen. On what is antigen? Antigen is the small tiny part of the disease causing organism, right? Which is non-dangerous version. So that this part will be introduced to your body to basically to initiate the antigen antibody reaction, which is nothing but our disease fighting reaction in our body, which usually takes place in our body in case of diseases. This is what vaccine is all about, right? Now these vaccines are formed containing various elements into it, like antigen, stabilizer, preservative, right? So that they'll be available to each and everybody to increase their shelf life, and lot of other properties are there. Now this virus, this and vaccine making process takes certain time, right? And it has to go through various phases. So first phase is exploratory phase, where we need to find out the antigen. We already know, we know the COVID origin and the COVID COVID virus is available to us. Then we go through a preclinical stage where we basically test that antigen reaction in animals, especially mice and all. Then the phase one comes where we need to test it on a certain group of people. Then the phase two comes, which where we test it on a larger scale in a bit large number of people. And then the phase three come, where a large group of people are being used from different ethnicity, different age group, different genders, where we see the effect of the vaccine and we try to find out the efficacy of it. Then it goes into registration, licensing, and all those procedures. Then the manufacturing will start. So this is a lengthy process, it does take time. But because of the urgency of this pandemic, and the only available treatment line available is vaccine, right, where we want our immunity to enhance and has that pre-recorded information within, that if we encounter this infection, our body is ready to fight against it. We has those antibodies available in our body. So our government, our scientists, they are under pressure, right, to work fast. But let me tell you on a very honest note, this procedure takes times, in terms of sometimes years, even 4 to 5 years. Every phase take 1 year or 2 year time. But because of latest technology, because of the pressure, the government and scientists, they are really working hard, right, to get this vaccine available as soon as it is possible, right? So this is my take on vaccination, is that yes, vaccine will come, but it will take time. And then even there is a phase 4 where we need to see that after administering the vaccine, what kind of effect it will create and what all side effects could create also. So it does take time. But yes, vaccine is the only potent available treatment for us as far as the viral disease is concerned, because till now we are giving only the antibacterial supportive treatment, right? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Well, pandemic. This is a word which has ravaged all of us. Still, we are not able to move up, not able to stand up, not able to go out, not able to feel so secure. This is not the problem with me, with you, but with all of us. Will we have future? Are we going to be promised by any external element or supernatural element or something that we believe in? What is going to happen? But something for sure, we need to be positive, because 2020 is moving away. It's getting into oblivion. Sure, people, for better reasons, will not remember this year, but they would definitely remember when they feel shocked about how horrible it has been with reference to the pandemic. Now, let me ask, about the effects of this bad pandemic and some good side effects. We have seen no institutions, no job, no moving outside, completely, packed. So all people have found themselves confined to their houses. But here, are there good side effects? What are they, if so? To answer this, Matt Krishnan sir from Bangalore. Sir, please, what are some good side effects
Yeah,
of this bad pandemic? I'd like to
absolutely.
listen.
There's always a silver lining to the cloud, and the cloud always passes on, right? I mean, so I think firstly, from Dr. Gaur's presentation, thank you for that, Dr. Gaur, on making us understand more about the basics. I mean, 1 year into the pandemic, I didn't even know the basics of what the vaccines involved, etc. So appreciate and that is part of the good news. The first good news in the horizon is that everyone will get a vaccine within 6 months for sure. So there is an end in the light at the end of the tunnel is here. And so all of 2021 will not be normal in the sense that it'll take 6 months to 9 months for the after effects to kind of just settle down and subside, because it's a tectonic shift that's happened. But amazingly enough, we seem to have very resilient demand, etc. I mean, particularly in India, right? It's hard to generalize around the world because there's so many things going on in family, social upheaval, this, that. And frankly, I wouldn't want to be in the US at this time because there are so many things going on. Whereas here, we have here to be bouncing back with a better attitude. So one of the most positive things I'd like to emphasize is that when you have constraints, it firstly gives you an attitude of gratitude for what you have, rather than trying to find out what you're missing. You first understand that let's accept that we have these things and we're okay for the moment, etc. Compared to many people who may not be okay even for a few days, right? When you look at that, I mean, I feel almost selfish thinking of my long-term security when people don't have security even for weeks or months, right? And so we begin to develop an attitude of gratitude first. Secondly, they say necessity is the mother of invention, right? So in modern terminology, it says constraints bring out innovations. When you have constraints, that's why India is known as a jugaad country, because we try to make do with short amount of resources, etc. It makes you more innovative because you're constrained. If there's unlimited resources, there's no need of innovation, right? And so that's why when we are in crunch time, the people are going to be a lot more creative. The creative energy outpouring is going to be huge. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, some compassion, for those who are struggling at this time would be greatly helpful, because we're a country of vast amount of people, and roughly the haves and have-nots have always been, there, right? I mean, it's not like a new have-nots, but there's been 50% have-nots and 50% have. That equation keeps moving. So if we help somebody on the other side, pretty soon the country can be a lot better off. So these are some of the positives that come to mind. Of course, the fact that we were captive with the family in many ways gave you such time and quality time, etc. It also brought out friction, I'm sure, here and there, right? Polluting each other's space and all that. But having family time was mandatory, and that's a huge part of the positive from all this. So I'd say that the silver lining is going to get larger and larger as we get towards the mid-year. But but it's not going to dramatically change overnight. So guys, continue to do the same for some months. Thank you.
Wow, that must be awesome. Seeing something positive amidst negative, phenomenal, and unavoidable changes. Today, we people have been absolutely complaining about many aspects. Yes, it is true. There is no problem. We could definitely complain. But how about the positive points? Thank you so much, sir, for having the optimistic view and giving us energy, which would be useful to carry out the lives so effectively and perfectly in the new year. Well, this is a pandemic which has come all the way suddenly overnight. And there is a piece of news that there would be some halt for all the activities in the country. And when people thought of it, all right, it could be something like, it's like observing some kind of burn. Even I felt personally, because we have not ever experienced it. This is a pandemic, and many words got into the dictionary of English. Pandemic, epidemic, XYZ. It's not new in the world that, especially in India, Some parts of India have been vulnerable for various natural calamities. Certain plagues have ravaged, and it happens in a cyclical manner from time to time. However, the people have been completely shocked. Now we are not able to identify ourselves whether we are the byproducts of the post pandemic scenario. Here, my question is, how is it different from earlier pandemics? How can we see that this pandemic has this kind of importance or else unimportance? How is it different from this? This question is for Lakshmi Prasad, ma'am. Ma'am, over to you.
See, majority of the pandemics that occurred in the recent past have been known to have spread through cross-species transformation of microorganism. I'm sure doctor will agree to me when I say this. Previously, such pandemics were often a result of the spread of the virus, such as influenza, SARS, when the infectious diseases has a potential to spread beyond geographical boundaries and lead to a high mortality rate. In addition, it also affects the economic, social, and the political aspect dynamic of a region. A major reason behind the trend is globalization as well as ease of travel. COVID is much more contagious, as told by Dr. God some time back, than influenza because of has a asymptomatic type. You never know. I mean, the patient will be as normal as ever, but you never know that that person is carrying this. So that spread, what she told is 1 is to 2.2, is alarming, right? The outbreak has not only impacted people but led to many deaths. It has given rise to the financial setback. Industries have shut down. They have taken a great beating on this. So what has happened in this is, yes, the essential part has been doing well, but most of the industries are really having tough time, and it's a vicious circle. When the industries are not able to produce, they're not able to get what they want, there has been impact on the employment and other things. So it is really different from the other pandemic that we have seen so far. Over to you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now, so we have an associate professor in this session who has been introduced in the very beginning, Dr. Santamare Tannev. So, ma'am, so my question for you is, how do you assess this scenario? How can we always stay positive during the crisis, be it a pandemic or else any natural calamity or any something that sort? What to you, ma'am?
Yeah, good morning, one and all. Due to technological hitches, I was slightly late, which I don't usually do. And
No
it's nice
problem.
listening to it's. I mean, I'm in a remote village. Perhaps one of the life experience that what I go through, accessing technology for teaching. All right. How to stay positive? I think it takes 200, 300,000 times of willpower. Because number one, I mean, I speak from psychological as well as technological aspects. Number one, technology, I mean, a crisis is a crisis, but it also has the other side of the coin, which brings opportunity to a lot of people. All right. We have to be smart enough to see. I mean, not to say that all the crisis brings opportunity to all level, but there is at least one or two departments, one or two sectors which are affected, but there are other sectors which actually gets the crisis into opportunity. They flourish, actually speaking. For example, this work from home and the smaller units, which don't actually require people to go to office and do things. So yeah, in a way, this a cost saving measure. I mean, assume that I go to college every day and I work and look at the administrative cost, the operational day-to-day operational cost that is actually minimized. All right, but I still teach my students the same syllabus, same timetable, same tests, same assessment, everything done online. All right. So there is an opportunity. So to stay positive, we need, as I said, we need willpower, but we all know we also need technological assistance. That's very important, because if technology doesn't actually help us in achieving what we want to achieve, then we are likely to push slightly backward, and probably we will be end up having fatigue, frustration, this and that. So we need willpower. I mean, whatever happens, see, I may sound slightly spiritual, but it is not spiritual, it's purely psychology. All right. Because I mean, within the limited resources, we know certain things are beyond our comprehension, beyond our limits. I think COVID 19 is one such instance where things have gone completely chaos, and the outcome is completely beyond our reach, which we actually can't do. At the outset we can't do anything, but we have to take this as a opportunity to either enhance us or to do whatever we can do within the possible limitations. I think that's all, Mr. Rao. I guess I have answered your questions.
Well, this is a pandemic period. So, with all mixed feelings and expectations, we are moving ahead because it is necessary. We can't be so pensive and we can't be so dull, and we cannot dispirited or be dispirited always ourselves. We must be confident, and with which we have to give confidence to the kids and the families, and confidence to the fellow neighbors. That is how we can streamline. We can come out of the problems, the bottomless spirit issue. Of all these things we have, but still there is a kind of lacuna. Family matters. When it comes to pandemic, family versus pandemic, again, yes, there have been many issues. Matt sir has exemplified various aspects. Yes, he has looked at that point as something positive. People got together and spent well. But Aryapadmam Charasila, ma'am, she has something to tell us about. Ma'am, would you please answer this? How are you thinking about this? What's your take on this? In fact, here we have pandemic. You work in Andhra Pradesh, and your native place is Trivandrum, Kerala. How do you just manage this kind of thing? Like, how do you stay connected with family and friends during the pandemic?
So, as you know, pandemic has brought in families together. People stay at home. They spend a lot of quality time with their family. But for people who is working outside their hometown, and especially for students who were staying, for example, abroad and in other states, it's been a tough time. Most of them have gone back to their home. And right now I'm at my home after 8 months. So it's been tough on me personally, and a lot of my other colleagues too, because they're people from Delhi, Assam. So for them to go back home, it was not even possible. They are only going in few days. So here, why family matters and friends matter so much is, as I had mentioned about earlier, it's the emotional well-being that we have to take care of. Because during the pandemic, during the lockdown, one thing that affected everyone, and what has caused a lot of stress, is we came across what is called as a personal vulnerability. We figured out what what makes us weak when people who we love are not near to us. And I have always been living or studying outside my hometown, so I have been used to being far from home. But then I had come across a lot of stories of students, especially since I work in the field education sector. I had received a lot of information of how students have been feeling, how stressful they are. And for that matter, the AP government has been concentrating on the mental health issues. A few of our universities have set up counseling centers. The psychological department have been focusing on providing counseling sections for students, as well as people in the region itself. so I have been part of those initiatives, and I think it is very necessary that we address those issues. And this is high time that as a society also we take care of the well-being and happiness of the individuals. That should be the priority at this point. And post-COVID, for us all to thrive, that needs to be the initial step, I would say. Obviously, there is security that we need for our income, for future child care, and for all the other reasons. And then there is all of us need to socialize. Human being is a social animal, so that is also there. And another step, and another thing that I miss personally, and a lot of people, I think in my generation, and even my parents, my dad yesterday was like, should we travel somewhere? And I had to remind him that COVID is still there. It's not gone. Just because I had traveled and come and have quarantined and been with you doesn't mean we can travel. So we need to, yes, it is something to look forward to after post COVID, but we need to make sure that we have to be safe. Security is the first thing, but after that we have to make sure that we are happy, we are taking care of our own mental health and the people around us. That would be it, sir.
That must be something amazing to listen this information from you, madam. Here we have been discussing pandemic. So we have two different polarities. On one hand, we are so much, scared. We are under the grip of pandemic. We don't allow our kids to move away, and they have lost their spring too. I do remember a story written by Anis Jain, who is devoted to write about children and their springtime. Spring season is a season which gives happiness. That is a season for all of us. During the childhood we spent, and we played together endlessly, and we had great time with all our neighboring kids and all these things. Once people rise up and then they reach to the adult level, adulthood, it is difficult. There are many conditions, many constraints. We'll have to live in watertight compartments. But now, for the kids, there is no space. For the kids, there is no space. Even though there is a sprawling ground with lush green, beautiful lawns, we still suspect. Is it okay? Can it be possible? Can we send our kids to go and play? See, indirectly, we become we just have to, we don't like it, but we have to curtail their freedom. They are losing the chance. I would like to ask a question from one of the participants. May I ask, respected Mohammed Jainal Abedin sir, correct me if I am wrong, if I have pronounced your name properly. Mohammed Jainal Abedin sir, we request you to please participate in this discussion and kindly tell us something regarding this. Kumar sir, over to you. Please go ahead. You are given 1 minute to 2 minutes, okay? Please, in 2 minutes, please try to conclude. Thank you.
Sir, in my olden days, played very much in the gardens and in the fields, sir. But in this pandemic time, my children is restricted to.
Excuse me, sir. Kindly turn on video. Would like to see you, if possible. This is my request, that's all.
Yes, sir. Yes. This pandemic season make my children to restricted to home. It's like a jail. They are very much feel inconvenient. In the first few days, they are interested to play with us and with his brother and my younger boy. Nowadays, he is very much reluctant to play with his brother. He wants to play outside with his friends, and he wants to go to school. But even today, they have no school session. He is in seventh year boy. So they are very much becoming rude, sir.
Right.
What to do? And what are the things to make him happy?
You are expecting us to tell you?
Sir?
You are expecting us to tell you how to handle your kids and the problems with their relationships?
I'm expecting something from you, sir.
Oh, great. But I would like to ask you, please tell us, how have you been able to manage over these past few months?
Up to I'm a teacher, sir.
Right.
After the reopening of the time, we spend most of the time with him, and almost all the time. But after we went to school, the two boys only stays at home, and they are only observing my older children. Uh, Boy is only observing the online classes, but the younger boy, they have no online classes, and is only playing with the video games and other thing.
Right.
That makes that uh, we are something afraid of that. In the evening session, they are and we think that even though we are in school session, if they are quarrel with them, or whether they are eating in proper way or not, that makes us very much embracing myself or my
Wow.
wife also, sir.
Thank you
So
so much, sir. Please stay tuned, and you will have lots of takeaways from this national conclave. All the guests and even the participants are going to synthesize their ideas. See, anything happens when we sit together and discuss and we synthesize. We synthesize something by bringing all the aspects together, and there is some product which we have after analysis. So synthesizing something and analyzing something is very important to get away from all the ruckus and the problems, especially pandemic now. I'll get back to you, all the participants, and one more chance for you. If anyone wishes to ask any question with reference to the current discussion now, you may kindly send me the chat in my personal window, and we can just definitely consider your request and you can respond on that. Don't stay calm. You can still be participant and be active. Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to ask this question, Dr. Sentamarai. Ma'am, people talk about times like good times, bad times. If father, is asked by the son, Dad, give me 500 rupees, I must buy some, clothes. This is a common question in the very, very ordinary families you could find, but if the boy lives in metro, he might ask, Dad, give me your credit card. See, this is the scenario. But in a village or semi-urban areas, boy might only expect 500 rupees from his dad out of his curiosity. But in the metros, the boy commands dad, because that's the kind of upbringing and the kind of flexibility they have, and they just take it for granted. In this context, we talk about times, that is changing times. How to understand these changing times? I have this question particularly for Dr. Sentamarai. Ma'am, please tell us how to stay with times. How to stay with times. Over to you, ma'am.
Uh, the questions seem kind of simple. I mean, if you look at surface level, it looks very simple. But if you have to delve deep into it, because it's not easy to talk about time. What I understand from your question, keeping up with time, what I understand from your question is keeping up with the trends. Do you mean trend?
Of course, to some extent.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right. Keeping up with trend has lots of cultural, psychological factors. Yeah, I mean, it has a lot of cultural and psychological factors. As far as I think, it's all about family upbringing.
Right.
Whether you live in a village, or whether you live in a city, whether you live in US or India, wherever you live in, it's all about family upbringing, number one. Number two, of course, the family upbringing has been changing over time. All right, over time, um, which is based on the technology, I would say, which is based on the mindset of the parents as well as the children. I mean, I used to ask permission for every single thing from my father. The situation never changed even after I became an adult, even after I started earning my own. I mean, I can say it's my own earning, but still there's a permission asking attitude in my mind. I think what I personally felt, that's the respect that I give it to my father. Not because I needed permission, but because he needs to be informed. So that's my attitude. I think it's all about upbringing, number one. Number two, changing of time, it changes due to various factors. Technology brings in major change of time. If you look at Chennai, for example, if you actually walk into an IT city, we have an IT hub in Chennai, you would see a topsy-turvy world. I mean, you will take some time to digest. Oh, this is Madras, still South India, So that's a kind of thing. So it's changed. So changes brings in too many adverse results, and for which I would say technology has been a major part. All right, and technology, I include all sorts of technology. Major cause is your internet as well as mass media, your television, this and that, everything brings has its own take, and I think that's all. I mean, it's all very individual thing,
Right.
individual feeling, individual thing.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
But actually speaking, I do see a lot of changes in the way students talk to faculty members, in the way students talk to their parents. I mean, sometimes I was shocked. I mean, perhaps they take a lot of things for granted, and parents from parents side, I think they just give too much leverage to children. I mean, they assume that children know everything and they are old enough to do things on their own, whereas actually it's not.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Well, in this connection, there is very immediate step all of us must have to take and must think about. Indian Council of Medical and Research, like ICMR, has given many statutory guidelines to all the functioning bodies in India across all the states to take a holistic view and to troubleshoot the problems. And it is something which keeps all the bodies and the stakeholders stay alert to help the country get free from this pandemic. Now, my question to Dr. Sonal Gaur is, what do you think about the importance of alternative medicine in COVID situation?
Okay, so Naga sir, this is the point where conflict arises, right? And a tug of war between the modern medicine and the alternative sciences started. Now, I being a practitioner of alternative medicine and actually experience the efficacy of the treatment in prevention and control of the disease, I would say that I would like to first thank the modern medicine for being the frontline warrior facing all the situations. But at the same time, I would like to request them that you cannot just side stream the alternative efficacy and the importance of the alternative medicine itself. Why? Because we are a country of of saints. We are a country of ancient sages who gave us two beautiful things in our life, right, which are still a part of it, and it comes in the form of yogic practices. And our ancient sages in that time understand the importance of medicinal herbs, and they include them as a part of our daily cuisine, right? If you look at the facts regarding the COVID situation in India, almost 85 to 90% cases recover, despite we being the second largest populated country. More than 60% people living below poverty line, lack of resources, lack of the awareness regarding the sanitary and hygiene practices. Still the ratio is high in terms of recovery, and the death rate also are less. So we need to understand that there are few things which helps us to overcome these kind of this infective situation. Like when I'm saying a lot of medicinal herb are part of our cooking, everyday cooking, there are a few herbs which are antiviral in itself, antibacterial in itself, and we are using and consuming them on daily basis. Our lifestyle is built in such a way that it actually boosts the immunity. Like majority of people in India used to wake up early in the morning, which actually, and they are more prone to use breathing exercise, doing lot of hard work, physical work. So all these things basically add on to us, right, to build that immunity, to build that stamina to fight against the disease. Also here I would like to emphasize that if you look at during the COVID times, even the Ayush Mantralaya, they actually send certain guidelines to use concoctions of various herbal medicines or various herbs. Also in I'm a homeopath, right? So I have seen myself personally using a homeopathic prophylactic medicine during this COVID time help various people. I got information and inputs from lot of my colleagues also, where they are distributing the homeopathic prophylactic medicines in general public. For example, I was looking at a few articles in PubMed and all, where I have seen few studies are being conducted in China and in India also, where we had seen that the people, almost like 495 COVID positive patients are being tested, out of which all 25.8% people, they were using some or the other form of complementary alternative medicine along with their mainstream of medicine. And we found that none of them reported with any acute or severe adverse effects. Same ways in the China, when the outbreak happened initially, so Chinese were taking it as an acute pneumonic infection. They were treating it on that line. At that time also, it has been found that the traditional Chinese medicine, which is nothing but the medicinal herbs they were using, found very effective in overcoming the issues, overcoming this disease. Though it is an acute infection and self-limiting, but as I said, that immunity plays the major role. So everything which boosts up to our immunity is actually going to help us fighting against this disease in the absence of vaccine, right? So alternative medicine definitely plays a major role. Last month my husband came corona positive, and me and my 10-year-old son, we were isolated at home. And during that time, I can say this with personal conviction, homeopathic and ayurvedic prophylaxis only helped me for coming out COVID negative despite my husband being COVID positive. So I do have full conviction in this alternative medicine treatment and all, and I would really request everyone to follow all those practices also as a daily part of their routine, right? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for having given confidence at times when we feel so stuck up. Now, to add some points to what you have said now, Dr. Santhamare is waiting. Over to Santhamare.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kaur, for your comprehensive points on alternative medicine. I mean, I don't directly connect with medical field, but I do read and I do personally, see people. Is there not a possibility of bringing all the three together under one umbrella, like inclusive medicine or, something like that? Just bring the best from. What I see, allopathic does not cure. This is my personal view. Allopathy does not help with every problem. Same goes with Ayurvedic. Same goes with the Siddha. Maybe our system. The system in the sense like maybe our system has to have something of comprehensive or inclusive medicine where the doctors themselves should be able to direct us. Okay, for this kind of issues, you'll have to reach out to Ayurvedic. For this kind of issues, you have to reach out to Siddha. For this, only allopathic will help you. Why can't we have transparency at least to have which are the complaints will have which type of treatments? We don't have transparency. I can give an example because I had a complaint a few months back. And I went to a doctor and I took MRI, this and that. And I was not actually given a clear picture of what I was having. But fortunately, my friend actually suggested me to reach out to an alternative medicine. And he actually went through my reports and he gave me, this is what is happening to you. And he gave me choices. You can do this or you can do that. See, transparency. I think we have the responsibility of directing the patients because it's all about lives, you see.
Right.
To whichever treatment they can take. Yeah, that's what I want to add. Thank you.
That was something amazing, madam. It has added value to our discussion. Now, one of the participants, Mr. Mahesh Masal, wants to tell us something about kids versus pandemic. Mahesh sir, over to you. Please respond. Finish in just 1 minute. Max.
Yeah, thank you so much. Since I was very curious to listen to all of you, I thought I should add something because I am into education, like higher education, and I run my own institutions and I'm into trainings also. See, if we understand, pandemic has only, it is जोर का झटका धीरे से नहीं है, अभी जोर का झटका जोर से हो गया बस. That is the only difference I see. Otherwise, if you see, as far as children are concerned, I can add value to different sections later, but as now children, if we look at the influencing factors that we had earlier, it was parents first, then teacher, then friends, then media. These were the influencing factors during our studies. That is parents first, teachers, friends, then media. Whatever parents said, that was a rule for us, and we did it. We trusted them. And parents trusted teachers. And whenever a teacher says something, that is a, rule for the parents. And even teachers, parents used to say, "Usko do maro, lekin but get him things done." Like, and we have put him into your, care. You take care. That was the period we went through. Then came friends, and friends didn't have any much influence on our career or anything. We are only playing with them. Last one was media. Media was only Doordarshan. Right? We used to see Ramayana, that, this, and end of it. Like, media didn't have any influence. And my dear friends, but if you look at now, the whole shift has taken place. Now, first influencing factor is media. Second is friends. Third is a teacher. And fourth is a parent. And as a parent, our role has come to the fourth now.
All right.
Right. So if we at all, we need to manage that. Then with the children, we should be updated with media.
Yes, sir.
And we should behave with them like a friend. At the same time, we should be a lovable teacher.
That is the need of the hour even. Children will become the future policymakers. We have to mold them.
The future is only three things. One is technology, network, then speed.
Wow.
But as a parent, if I don't adopt to that three things, then I am not fit to train my children. Be very clear on that. They get trained by the media.
Right, sir.
So
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. So we have been discussing children versus pandemic, and the family relationships versus pandemic. So pandemic has created many opportunities for us to understand where we are. At international front, what is happening? Matt, sir, this is for you. What countries are doing well and why? Over to you, sir.
Unmuted. Okay, unmuted now. Yeah. So from what I've seen lately, New Zealand has reported 0 cases and Singapore has reported 0 COVID cases. That is the final target, is to have a country that is free of the cases, right? That's a great benchmark, and some countries have attained it, although they're small countries. But I think the common thread is that they're very sensible about their approach, and the citizens were not anti-government in terms of complying with the strict regulations. So, for example, I think you compare India to China. India, we are relatively successful in the sense that we had a good lockdown and all that, and despite all that, we have this large amount of cases. But then somehow our healthcare system has been able to manage thus far. I'm sure there's been many instances where it was not easy for people to get care, but we seem to have been able to get through without a complete breakdown or crisis. And so for us, from our large footprint standpoint and resource crunch, etc., and distribution of wealth, unfortunately, this is more an urban phenomenon. You see, it comes from crowded places with lots of people. So the rural side is not necessarily the biggest hit. And so the cities have come under a bigger stretch. So India has been doing, I'd say, in the upper half or the better half. Now, China, amazingly, had terrific control, even though it originated there. How do they do it? Firstly, because it's a highly controlled state, and the surveillance is very high. When they lock you down, they lock you down. You're like in handcuffs. You have no option to go anywhere, and you're being monitored like round the clock type of thing. That is what causes control and tracking and tracing and so on. Likewise, very surprising that Taiwan, neighboring to China, also has very few cases. South Korea has none at the moment, of very few. It's in the 10s and 20s. They're reporting like less than 100 type cases, in these very populated countries. Now, beauty is, the density of population in these countries is almost equal to India. They may be smaller, but per square mile, they have almost comparable amounts of people. Japan and all these places have a similar density as us, right? And so it is about the extra sort of care, control, resources thrown in, etc., that makes the difference. And I think there's something to do with maybe immunity too. I mean, we might have better immunity than others, and certainly if we focus on staying healthy, that helps too in fighting it off. So those who are disciplined about being healthy, I think, have a better chance overall, right? Just being in better immunity shape. So that's kind of what I see. But the most surprising thing to me was our own good old US of A. United States isn't in the great shape. It's the worst affected in many ways. Why? Because they have a chaotic response, especially with leadership's messaging. And when our country's leadership messaging is amazing. Once 5-minute speech, and the country is coordinated. Whereas there, it's every state is doing its own thing, and people are questioning their freedoms being curtailed, not understanding that your freedom, if it impinges on somebody else's freedoms and their downfall, that's not your freedom, right? If you start breathing into somebody's face, that's not your freedom to do that. And so I was surprised that the chaotic response in the US has got them to this point where it could really see their decline because of this sort of heavy impact that all the aftermath of that. It's not going to be easy, but the US is very resilient, and also they've got resources. But I'd say that this is a big hit for them.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Sure.
Aripadnam Charasila ma'am is working in Vijayawada. We know that. But she belongs to Trivandrum. If she has felt that this pandemic has created problems to her, she feels insecure and she may really want to have different options. Ma'am, if you have felt this way, have you altered your career goals and aspirations due to pandemic? If so, how? Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, so that's a question I think everyone who is who is right now in the field, in their respective field, I think is going through, because everyone has short-term plans and long-term plans, and especially when you are in this current society where everything is competitive and you want to excel in your field, you are always trying to make a career change and add more skills to your career set. So pandemic obviously has put a spot, I won't say full stop, but it has kept everyone on a halt on what they want to do on career basis and developing their skills. But as our fellow speakers have already talked about the intervention of technology, there are a lot of people who have taken online classes and built their skills in that front. But for people who especially work on the field, for example, I would say my own field, education sector, where a lot of people do field research, and development sector, where a lot of work has to be on the field. You have to go and interact with the people. It has taken a toll. I have to be very open about that. But so that has obviously altered what we want to do, what the plans are. So the pandemic has affected in a lot of ways how to restructure our career goals and restructure our understanding of how to take this pandemic in and make utilize the time also that we have in our hand to make sure we can add it up to our set skills, so to enhance ourselves. So yes, it has obviously taken a toll, and I myself have restructured what I wanted to do. That's something I want. I would rather have advised a lot of people to concentrate on, is to set short-term goals rather than long-term goals at this time, when it comes to 2021, because in this pandemic you are not sure how things are going to span out. To setting short-term goals and achieving them gives a satisfaction, rather than thinking, oh, my long-term goal is not to being getting achieved at this point because of what is happening right now. So I myself wanted to do a PhD abroad, but that's been on hold, because even though applications they are accepting, you are going, a lot of my friends have applied for masters and they have now started online classes. But the whole point of applying abroad was to go there, interact with people there, and getting to know what are the things that is different from our country and what is there new there. But right now everything is online, so even though they are getting the knowledge, but that constraint is there. So in that way, yes, I have restructured my career, my ambitions in a way to suit what is right now there. So I that is one thing, I as I
Aryabhata
said.
ma'am, sorry for
Yes.
interrupting. You have been
Yes.
concerned about your existing issues with regard to your career. And
Yes.
what's your take on planning to thrive post pandemic? So you know that these are the limitations for you now, despite having all the aspirations. So what's
Yes,
your
sir.
take on so your after pandemic? So if you feel
Yes, sir.
sure, what would you like
Yes,
to?
sir. So as I said before, what I have set my mind into is focusing on short-term goals,
Right.
rather than on long-term. Long-term goals are there, but my focus is more on the short-term basis to make sure that I can develop the skills that I have. I can enhance the skills that is there, and also obviously career is important, but as I have been saying, the most important thing right now is to take care of your own mental health and the people around you. So I do take breaks from watching news and articles or reading about the pandemic, to make sure that I focus on myself. So that needs to be there. Focusing on yourself has to be there. That should be a priority, because you as ma'am was saying, Dr. Sonal ma'am was saying, you have to be aware about what she has been talking. You have to be aware about what is happening right now,
Right.
how the COVID situation is, what is the vaccine. You should know about what is available, where to go if you are feeling sick. That is there, but at the same time you have to also take a step back, take care of your emotional health, take care of take a break from what is happening, and take care of yourself, so that you can be there for other people also. So that obviously can help you to thrive in the post COVID situation. That's what I feel, sir.
We are so much pleased to have you today, dear participants and the guests. Aribadam Charasula ma'am is supposed to take leave now as she has got some commitments. We thank you so much, ma'am, for having graciously accepted and consented for an invitation. And your valuable inputs, I believe, would be helpful for all of us. And hereafter, we will absolutely implement whatever you have shared and would take as good legacy to understand the present scenario, and accordingly we make decisions. We thank you so much on behalf of Remold. We thank you, ma'am, and kindly help us in the future projects too. Have a great time.
Thank you, thank you. It's an honor to be part of this conclave, and thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful discussion after this. Thank you, everyone. Have a good Sunday.
Thank you, ma'am. Wow. So it's been a kind of plethora of discussions and plethora of fruitful talks. It is always advised. Mind is, it's a best friend, but it's a paradoxical statement. It is also the worst enemy. And some people do say it's a strange creature. How to understand these three things? Best friend, strange creature, worst enemy. If we do have all these temptations, like notions about the mind that we have, the brain, I would say brain, how to understand? And if this brain doesn't work well, how to put it, how can we put it in proper order? And if you do think our brains are always enemies for us, can we be happy? These are all various questions. But Winston Churchill came up with an idea. He said, take a piece of paper out and write down all your problems. Let's say if you have 6 problems, two, and categorize them, put them in watertight compartments, and you would get an idea which pair of the problems you have could be solved immediately. Try to focus on them. It's very sure that at least 2 to 3 problems, or at least a pair of problems can never be solved. Forget about them. And 2 problems would be there. They would create kind of lacuna between the reality and the reason, for which you need to do proactive thinking. So if we do like this, and when we apply this principle to pandemic, dear friends, maybe in 2021 we might get fruitful results. To listen to more from our esteemed guests, let me ask this question, Lakshmi ma'am. How can the risk of such outbreak be reduced in future? How would you see this? What's your take on that? Over to Lakshmi ma'am.
Well, few lessons for post-COVID pandemic world could be, the crisis is far bigger than 9/11, as well as the global financial crisis that we all saw. With 9/11, what happened was the securities were tightened and things changed from the security point of view. And the global crisis, what it made is brought a lot of regulations and rules that changed after the financial crisis. I think the attitude to health will change after the COVID. Having said that, there exists a need to build an agile and robust healthcare system with a contingency plan in place and manufacture and equip ourselves with all the, could be the ventilators. We were running short in between for ventilators, the PPEs and the diagnostic kits. I think we'll have to look into all this. We seem to have developed fatigue, but I don't think the virus does not know what fatigue is. So that will continue. We haven't learned from our failures. We are in the denial mode. For example, year after year, we see floods across the country and people are prepared for it. They say we are prepared, and yet it catches us off guard. So these kind of planning is extremely important. With increasing trade, travel, population, density, human displacement, migration, and climate change as well, a new era in the risk of epidemic has begun. Research in healthcare, clinical biomarkers, testing, artificial intelligence, and many such technologies, I guess, are very important to be deployed. And I am sure we will fight against all this and we will come out of it. The positivity is far more important. We could be in denial mode, we could have all that, but coming out of it is much more important. As we had our Dr. Ma'am telling, the mental health should be far more stronger. The willpower should be far more stronger. I totally agree with her that that is what makes us get going. And I'm sure, taking all these few things in mind, we will come out of it. Like how we have seen previously, various crises we have seen and come out of all this. Over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for having given us valuable ideas. And now, decisions are the pillars of our success. In fact, when we make beautiful decisions, so they will give us clarity. To tell us something about better decision making in the period of this pandemic, Mrs. Tarandeep from New Delhi, she has joined us now. Madam, please do tell us about taking decisions when environment is not so positive. What's your take on this?
Right. Thank you, Naga. It's always a pleasure to be here. And this is my second experience with your national conclave. It's fabulously proceeding very well. And I know there's huge vision for you, which will be very, very soon accomplished together. Okay. I could not have missed it because I'm already in a 3-day training right now, which is going on the other computer.
Oh, thank you,
But I have to be with you. Okay. And this is a topic which you have picked up, which is very, 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 very passionate topic for me. Very, very, I'm on top of it right now. Okay. Because pandemic has treated, in my life, it has been, if you actually take out the sufferings, if you actually take out, the sad part in various families because people have suffered and there are losses of near and dear ones. If you actually take off that part, because that is always unpleasant, especially when somebody loses their near and dear ones, so that part is there. But personally, because here I will talk personally, right? So personally, this period has been a boon for me as a person. Why? And I actually want this period to extend a bit, okay, maybe 1 or 2 months more. Not because of the suffering part, as I already mentioned, that has to be taken off, but the kind of introspection time it's given me personally. All these 18 years of corporate hustle bustle, I've never got time to think, and we've been always in that pseudo jargon. We are busy. I've realized that's a pseudo jargon. We eat, We do what we love to do. We sleep. We, we do what we want to do. Okay, we are still doing that. It's not that we're not eating food. We're not, doing our daily chores. But we have that stupid jargon which is embedded in our subconscious, which says, I am busy. This period when there were no offices, there was no meeting happening, there was no life outside, it was inside the four walls of the house, but your office was on, right? So 23rd, in Delhi, we got this announcement by our dear Chief Minister Kejriwal that now it's going to be under lockdown. 28th of March, I started my another parallel vertical or startup, which was my dream project. Okay. When people were still under that doubt in my own house, I had people around me, my husband, for example, who was shattered because now we didn't know because our main target groups were hospitality, and hospitality was in abeyance. All our contracts the very next day were in abeyance through an email, and we were back to square one. Okay. But that helped me immediately to rise above what was happening, the turmoil, the chaos which was happening in the minds, right? And immediately on 28th, I started my another vertical, which has thankfully helped me afloat. So, coming back to your question, how do you sail through? How do you mentally balance yourself? I guess that's the question. Yeah. So, there, your positivity, your clarity, your vision is very, very important about what you want to do and how you want to impact the society. So, once you have journaled it, that self talk, that peaceful time for self talk is super, super, super duper, I would say, powerful,
Oh, great.
because there you get the answers of every problem. And that's what I have been doing. Journaling is your best friend. You don't need anybody to give you counseling or whatever. A lot of answers come out of it as well. So that really helped me. And the minds got opened, at least for me and my circle around, because all my circle is super charged, super passionate. So I'm very blessed to be in that friend circle who are also business entrepreneurs. And an entrepreneur's journey is very painful because there's a very, very fine line between self-employed and a business owner. Yeah. And which I realized in this period of time when I actually stopped and looked back as to what I was doing and what my vision is. And I realized I'm only self employed because I'm still in a comfortable zone. So, why not come out of that comfort zone, create systems, create processes, where things are going to be good in times to come. But for that, you need to do working right now. You have to work backwards and
Right.
create plans now. And just creating goals and plans is not enough. You have to create action plans around that, strategies, action plans, so that you hit the nail,
Right.
and drive the revenue which you want as
Correct.
a business owner. At the same time, your personal goals, your social goals, your health goals, you got time to actually work on that as well. At least think on it. Maybe I've not been able to implement on it, but yeah, that thinking time has been absolutely paramount.
Wow.
So I think this is what I have done, and it's the sky's the limit. 2021 has to rock. Very, very clear in my head. So 2020 was a planning year, introspection year, and 2021 has to be a rocking year. Upwards.
So at last, a small question before I think you have to leave. I know you are participating in a very fantastic business meet. The question is, what's your take on the expectations of the people in India in 2021? Not even India, across the globe. How should they be, and how would you give us suggestions that we could alleviate all our fears? May I?
Right. So Naga, this question is very nice question, very powerful question, and half of the answer you've already given earlier. When you said mind is your, creator, mind is your destroyer, and mind is everything. Okay, so everything starts from your thoughts. So if you're saying that, I'm very fearful about this situation, what will happen, I will be doomed, my business is doomed, and all that, that's a thought which you're actually seeding in your brain, right? And that is prone to become bigger, bigger, and bigger. And it will burst. It will do nothing which is a good thing to you, right? So, first of all, get the thoughts right. You know, think what you want to be. One, your goals and your dreams have to be penned down firmly and ingrained in your subconscious. If you're a negative person, you need to make a shift, because there you need to have a self transformational journey, because that's very important. So until unless we don't judge who we are, and the best part is you need to accept what you are. Not many times we confront it, because that needs a lot of courage. So that courage has to be there by saying, okay, I'm in a zone where I'm feeling fearful, which is killing me and pulling my morale down. It's all okay, just accept it, be in that zone. Let that feeling go bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right, right, ma'am.
Then discreate it, because then say, okay, I don't want to be such a person, I want to be more powerful person. You discreate it, because discretion and discretion all starts in your brain, in your mind, in your thoughts.
Thank you, ma'am.
So that is very important.
Thank you very much, Taranji, for your valuable time and extraordinary inputs and great ideas to alleviate all our fears. Because we are caught up with, a kind of not so glamorous situation, but still things are getting better day after day. So your valuable inputs are something great for us, and they mean a lot. So before we wind up this session, so the last question for Dr. Sonal Gaud ji, is she has already covered various aspects like alternative medicine and the kind of processes that are involved in bringing out this vaccine and all. So, precautions, let's say precautions. Prevention is better than cure. Elders said we have implemented, got many results. Given the context, what kind of precautions should we have to take with reference to this pandemic to avoid COVID? Because in the UK of late, there was a surge of code SARS-2 kind of model, and people were made alarmed and they became so conscious. So luckily in India, despite having thickest population and the people's congregations at every nook and corner, things have not gone really so worse. So thanks to all the policymakers and all the people who wish the world thrive. Now, Sonalji, please tell us precautions one need to follow to avoid COVID. Briefly, we have 15 minutes to wind up this session. Please, over to Sonal, madam.
Yeah, so Naga, you very well said that we are fortunate enough that we are not yet struck by the second wave, right? So far our country is going really good. We all are very well aware of the precautionary things which we need to take externally, as I said, in the form of avoiding getting infected, right? And internally to boost our immunity. So, like adding more yoga practices into your life, breathing activities in your life, right? Adding more, medicinal herbal things in your food, day to day practices, adding on supplementation, because I had seen that vitamin C and vitamin D are really doing well in supporting your immunity and fighting against the infection and not letting the severe complications to arise. When I say externally limiting things, it means that we have to maintain and keep on following those precautionary measures in terms of using mask properly, keeping the right, if you come corona positive, keeping yourself isolated from your family member, also maintaining all that 6 feet distance, all these things. So we are aware of it, and our government is really doing fantastic by keep on reinforcing the environment for us to keep on reminding us that we need to follow all these things. But one thing which I really want to emphasize here is the mindset, because if we want to protect ourselves and keep on growing in a positive COVID free environment, one thing which is very important, which is that we need to be disciplined in following all these practices regularly. I am seeing that people are now getting reluctant in India because less COVID positive patients, so people are now started getting relaxed. Okay, by next year we'll be having vaccine, right? We are not getting infected. People
Yes.
are, so that community activity started arising,
Do you think they are
right?
overconfident and complacent
Yeah,
about what
yes,
we have not achieved?
yes. We need to be in a positive mindset, but at the same time, we need to be disciplined, and we need to understand this, the seriousness of this issue, right? So
Yeah.
for that situation, the only thing I would like to emphasize is people need to be very much aware of the situation happening internationally, and to avoid all those situations to arise in India, we need to keep on practicing the practices, the things which we are doing, maintaining that social distance and wearing masks, especially properly. In Delhi, I'm seeing people not wearing mask at all either, or they are wearing it only on their mouth and not on the nose, and they are not covering it properly. They need to understand it is a airborne infection. Not, it won't be just get into your body through mouth. It can get into your body through your hands, by touching your nose and eyes even. So all these things need to be practiced regularly. Then only we'll be able to, protect ourselves.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your very thoughtful clarity that you have given on how we need to be very clear with mouth etiquette and sanitization, of course, which is very essential. And this is something that catches the attention of all the people. And unless we follow these things practically, things will never be okay with us, and we may have to be in the mire, and things will have to, we will have to deal with them endlessly. But to reduce the stress that has been released out of these frustrating periods, especially with regard to this pandemic. So, what can the individual do to reduce stress, Matt sir?
Thank you, Naga. My personal recipe is that unless you believe that there is an intelligent power in the universe, you can't be really stress-free.
Right.
We have to first believe that the universe is run through an intelligent power, even though sometimes it has chaos built into it, but the resolution is also built into the same intelligence. I mean, through this pandemic, we have all become actually smarter and more equipped for chaos. Next time we have an issue like this, I think we are far more prepared and otherwise. So that's the first thing to remember, is that there is a collective intelligence that gain from all this. So that's one thing to to rest your belief on. The other thing, of course, is the attitude of gratitude, as we say, right? I mean, be thankful for what you have. That reduces your stress, and also knowing that thanks to medicine and all the care and the efforts gone around the world, this too will pass. In 2021, it will be history. So it's not going to be forever. We know that this is 6 months away or maximum year away. But yeah, all of 2021 will not necessarily be in any way entirely normal, etc. So we do have to see a continuity of some of this, but maybe maybe 50% better than this. But it will pass through the year, and we'll be back to the old days with some added benefits of all the technology, etc. For example, a practical idea of peace of mind is, if you know that your doctor is a phone call away, telemedicine, and he can see you on the video and give you a prescription that's delivered online directly to your door, that's peace of mind. When you have somebody old in the house, you don't even have to step out. You make a call, it's delivered, medicine is delivered. And all of this is happening very casually, normally, without any big sound and lights, because we were already set up. India already had the network, it had the optic fiber, it had the internet, everything. So it kicked into place. And so these things are, practical aspects of having a peace of mind. And the other thing I would suggest is, people have become more aware about being prepared for a rainy day. Having 6 months of expense money, or even a year of expense money, is something one has to plan on, because these are the practical aspects of peace of mind. When we say peace of mind, it's not all about yoga and meditation, but also being anchored on the fact that you have some real resources that you've set aside for an emergency. You have insurance plan, for example, health insurance or other insurance, etc. These things bring you, material peace of mind in a tangible way. So we can't ignore those entirely. And of course, using the time creatively, right? We now have suddenly time in our hands at home, where we can't just suddenly run out, do something, and go out. So use the time. So creativity will, I think, will see huge leaps. And so may your own creative time blossom with all kinds of great output and activity. So with that, thank you for the opportunity, Nagasa.
We are so much grateful for your analysis of both national and international perspectives. on divergent views, with divergent views on various polarities. No, the point is, work from home has become a common concern for the existing scenario. Teachers and employees of various organizations have found it to be useful in the beginning. Gradually, they got too used to it. Now, it has begun to pose challenges too. Post-COVID situation is something that we need to look at. May I know why this actually is happening? Lakshmi ma'am, please do respond. Post-COVID situation is something that we need to look at because that's our future. How does the work from home policies impact business from all points of view? Please, over to ma'am.
Well, work from home, as you said, initially for all of us it was good. I just relocated from Delhi, so I don't know how it is to travel NCR, how to travel and go to your workplace. So in the beginning, it was all very nice and exciting. We can work. I come from a manufacturing background, and that does not permit you like IT, where you people could work from home. We had to be there in the office, have our regular meetings and things that way. See, basically, this is a question of accepting change and adapting to that. Right. I will give you an example. When the banks came out with computerization a couple of years back, the employees refused to accept it. They said, how can we get into computerization? We are so used to interacting with customers, and now customers, they can't even see. It will not even be good. I had my 80-plus-year-old mother-in-law who never, was into this online kind of a banking. Her only nice thing was to go collect a pension, go to the bank, and meet those people, and she had a great interaction. That is one aspect. But slowly, when her health didn't permit her, she learned how to sit at home and look into it online. And, that is how it worked. But work from home has helped quite a few people. Some of them have become really happy where, the travel time is reduced. And people felt nice to work from home. And if you look at it, even for the companies, the sick leave would be reduced because they have slightly they're unwell. They cannot travel, but they can work from home. That kind of a situation was there. In fact, a recent study of Stanford also showed 13% of productivity when people were working from home. That also happened. And I believe Microsoft saved a lot in equipping for the administration aspect for the supplies, the food supplies for the employees. And another thing was the workspace. They could let out the rentals or whatever for that was reduced. These are some of the positive aspects. Well, the negative aspect would be when you don't see face to face, one is not comfortable. See, initially it was very nice for me to work from home and do all the work, combine my household work and all that. Later on, it sort of became a little edgy because all of us were in different room in our house and literally fighting. Because at home you're not equipped for your work kind of a space, so that kind of a thing was there. How we are going to is something I think as the mind will let you accept and adapt to these kind of changes, and I think we will start accepting and adapting to these kind of environment. And I'm sure there will be a situation where we can balance both, where you could work from home, you are comfortable, even going and meeting. Certain meetings, certain collaboration happens only when you have face-to-face kind of a thing. So overall, I think accepting both ways and just think is what I think the takeaway would be for the future.
That must be really fantastic, ma'am. Brilliant idea, and that is going to be very promising for all of us in 2021. We will definitely be with those ideas and we'll implement. And before we wind up the session, we have two more guests to tell us few views on how to stay motivated in 2021. Despite all these, kind of problems, we know problems persist us. They throw us into the problems, and again we may not be able to come out of the bottomless perdition. Financial problems, children upbringing problems, educational problems, health problems, whatnot. Since time immemorial, problems have been there with us. If we think this is something that can be tackled, positively. 2021 will be so effective. To listen this directly from these two guests, I would like to ask Dr. Santamarai, Madam, please do tell us how to stay motivated in this crisis period, otherwise post-COVID times in 2021. This is my last question.
Uh, how to stay motivated post COVID, for which we need to know when the COVID is going to get over. Uh, uh, I mean, there is a reason why I'm asking you. I mean, I'm just, this is my personal view because uh, we have been hearing stories as recent as last week, even yesterday, that COVID has mutated itself in somewhere in UK, and it has gone, it has taken a different shape, and it's been spreading faster than COVID-19. So we are still yet to see. I would say it is too soon to tell me, soon for me to tell you that when COVID is going to get over. Number one. Number two, whenever it gets over, okay, there will always be a pre-post era. That's how we actually classify the time. So when you actually classify that post-COVID situation, whether it's going to be a mutated COVID or the same COVID, no idea. We have to, I mean, I think I have to come back to the same old point. We have to stay motivated because, see, we are already born and we have to have what we all have a same calling. That's what I would say. We have a same calling. I want the very same thing that you want. Okay. So when we have a common goal to achieve, maybe the path that I choose is different from you, but all we need is something from this world. All right. Some kind of achievement, recognition, fame, money, whatever you name it, but there is something that we want, that we are all working towards that. All right. So we have to stay positive. And how to stay positive again? Auto suggestion. I think ma'am was Lakshmi ma'am was talking a while ago, telling yourself. It's called actually auto suggestion. We have to tell ourselves, suggest ourselves. Okay, this is going to get over, and this too shall pass, because there are so many things have passed already and we have still existed. I mean the world has not stopped its existence. We are still living. We have gone through so much in both in personal as well as professional front in social life. So there's nothing new actually. It has taken a different form. Probably I would say the COVID-19 is a different form of crisis. It's not that we have not come across crisis so far. We have come across so far. We have survived this crisis so far. So it's nothing new, but the form is different. And the way it has been brought to our notice
Right.
was different. All right. And of course, the government, I mean, whichever government is doing, I mean, I'm just talking about the entire government. The government machinery is doing its great work to support the individual, to support the lives of individual. I mean, they are doing their best. Considering the population of India in mind, I think our government is doing its best to save people, to protect us from the pandemic thing.
Right.
So, as far as we have the time, we have to do something to enhance us.
Right.
Say, for example, I may have an ambition of being a writer. If writing or if becoming a writer is my future ambition, then I can utilize this time to do whatever that
Wow.
writing takes.
Great.
You understand?
Yes.
This is the best possible method that I can give you. So we all have to identify retrospect. Ma'am was talking a while ago, retrospect. This is a time, God-given time. I mean, nobody gives you salary. Nobody tells you to stay home and do your work.
Yeah.
You understand? See, there were big issues in the beginning, juggling between your work as well as your household chores. It was not easy.
Okay.
You understand? People at home take it for granted. Oh, she's at home. She will do anything and everything that is needed at the time. But
Right.
it's not the same. You still have to be online for the class.
Right.
If my class starts at 10:30, I still have to log in by 10:25 because I have my responsibility. You understand? So that's the thing. So
Thank-
whatever is at our hand, whatever is our ambition, just hone the skills and do the best that we can. And meantime, be connected with people. I think before just now, ma'am was telling it's in the beginning it was okay, stay at home, okay, I don't have to travel so long and hassle-free life, this and that. But we have to remember one thing: we humans are social animals.
Right.
Okay, we are born with that intention in mind. We have to have personal connection.
Right.
Okay, so if you stay away from that, then we will actually have end up having fatigue in mind,
Right.
which will destroy our interest, morale, individual morale to productivity.
Okay.
Okay, I think this is what.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I would get back to you for the last, tagline, or else whatever you want to say as in the form of a phrase. At last, from all the guests, I'm expecting one catchy phrase, which would be so much, potentially powerful to guide and motivate all our participants of this particular national conclave. So we are formally done with this session, and those who have
all the participants in the meeting, thank you very much. I was really well, I mean, so many thoughts came, and it was all are very, very important. I would just like to say one or two points. I will not take much of the time. And what Dr. Sunal and Tarandeep has said, and Lakshmi Madam, and also this Madam having the administrator, I forget the name. So everything is really, really very good. India is also a very big country, and as Dr. Sunal has said, there are two things. One is curative and preventive. So curative and preventive. Preventive, if we take, Naga, you have already said prevention is better than cure. So whatever the herbs and alternate medicine we have, and the meditation, the yoga, everything will definitely going to take us to save our life in 2021 as well. And like we already have so many herbs in our daily life, as Dr. Sonal Gar, like haldi is one of them, tulsi is one of them. And this doctor and this Sarandi, what she said, just because she, after the pandemic, with this lockdown, in a week, she started her own new venture. And this is really very good. And the time for introspection and to find out the niche and what is best for me. This is the best thing which pandemic has given to us. And to be successful in the next year, I think one has to upgrade himself and to enhance his knowledge or skill or whatever it is, so that they can live their expected life in the coming time, that and give what they can give back to the society. So that is one few points which I really liked, and thank you very much for sharing such a nice ideas with the participants. All the
It was a wonderful session, like because all experts coming together and giving opinion on the pandemic and upgrading us. Okay, this is a very wonderful thing, and it's a great initiative. Like all known people coming together and doing a national conclave, and suddenly it becomes international, right? So I congratulate all of you. Only addition that, as far as pandemic is concerned, how I see it is in the Indian context, mythologically, whatever is going on today, it's Samudra Mantana going on between Suras and Asuras. And when Samudra Mantana happens, the first thing that comes out is Hala Hala Visha. And so whatever is happening today, all Visha is coming out now. And once Visha comes out and completes, then Amruta will come. 100% it will come. But
Yeah. Thank
are
you.
we ready to take that Amruta? If we are not ready in our profession, career, or children, education, whatever it is, then some Mohini will come and take it and go. Again, we have to do strategies, right? So let's get ready to receive that Amruta. And I feel it will take 3 years to get that Amruta. So till that time, we need to work out on all these things. So thank you so much. I loved being part of this, listening to all experts.
Thank you so much, sir.
So,
Thank you so much. It means a lot for us, sir.
My power line remains: the attitude of gratitude determines your altitude.
Wow, great, fantastic. Your attitude of gratitude determines your altitude. Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much, dear participants. It means a lot for us. Let us all imbibe the spirit, and then let's be grateful to the people who have helped us and who keep helping us. That's the base for our success.
Positive mindset, but please don't be overconfident.
Wow. Be positive, don't be overconfident. Yes, which keeps us always balanced. Balance is the base for life. and that leads to success. Thank you so much, Dr.
Okay. This too shall pass. And we have got so many stories to say to the next generation.
Right.
Yeah. Let's let the story be a positive story.
Okay. Right. So we could pick all the, we could summon the confidence and the
One
strength.
minute, 1 minute, Naga. Can I? Sujata here.
Okay, ma'am, please go ahead.
It is a really wonderful session, Remold National Conclave, and week after what you have taken the initiative, it is really amazing. A person like you to organize the entire thing and bring all the pioneer people into this. And the topic is really good, and it is really we need to go,
I'm humbled,
like
madam. Thank you, madam.
self development and others development, and also the post COVID, how to be in 2021. I'm really salute to you, and you have done good job, and all the best to all. Wish you all happy New Year 2021. Thank you
Thank you,
so
ma'am.
much.
Ma'am, you are a principal, you are a teacher.
Yeah.
Actually, we have to salute you because you transform the society and you give us the path. We are the kids. We still have to walk in the good, indelible footprints of great people like you. And all your impressions and the things have, energized us and made us feel more responsible for the betterment of the society and to do well for the future generations. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your great.
Naga, can I take 1 minute before we
Yes,
wind up?
madam, I am coming to you actually, please.
Okay. All right. So, as all the participants here, have given very valuable inputs, it's beautiful to learn from everyone. That's number one. So, I think the take from this entire year as an introspection year for me and many more people, I think the panel would also agree, is upgrading your skills, because what you are will not really help you get into an altitude mode, maybe, if you don't upgrade yourself. So for my further vision, my tagline which I've created for myself and which can be shared on the table is deserve before desire.
Wow.
So
Could you
you
please
should be
repeat, ma'am, once again?
deserving. So deserve before desire. So
Wow.
you have your desires, you have your, deserving mode. Are you in that deserving mode? That's a question you need to answer. So if you're
Wow.
Awesome,
not,
Taran.
then
Awesome.
self-learning, upscaling, upgrading has to be in your blood, period.
Wow. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you very much. It's a very powerful mantra for all of us to go ahead to see what really can possibly happening. And before we wind up, so we have Santa Maria ma'am to conclude finally, as well as Lakshmi Prasad ma'am. Lakshmi Prasad ma'am, over to you. What's your
Well,
say?
well,
Final
it's a
take.
combination. It's a combination of attitude, gratitude, positive thinking. This shall also pass, and the desire, and what we need to go. And I'm looking forward for the Amruta, what Mahesh ji was telling. Looking forward. The ups and downs of life will be there, but remain positive. Take things as it comes. This shall also pass. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for having given us conclusive, very decent mixture of all the pivotal aspects that came into the discussion today. Attitude is gratitude, and bringing all aspects. You have, made us feel more agile. The words which I have come across during discussion, being agility and being grateful, being for the sake of family's peace and the stability in the future, good financial stability. All these things are the crux of the entire ecosystem. We, being humans, are supposed to think about all these things. We must have to take active step in this regard. And we have got one message, a text message from Mahesh Masalji. His tagline is change with change, or else change will change you. Oh, great, sir. It's so great
Very good.
and powerful. In fact, all of us have to remember. I would consider this, all of them, as my, the steppings, the future pathfinding aspects and factors to guide me and to guide our remote. Would consider them, all of you. Thank you so much. And finally, anything that you would like to tell us. The participants are requested to give your, what you want. In fact, if you want to get the certificate, please do text. That would be enough for us. Those who are participate would receive the certificate. You will not have to pay a single paisa. This is a free program to bring the change. Remole is committed to bring educational changes. To develop the different perspective in the society, not in a local mode, but on an international front. Collaborating all the experts of various industry categories and the fields to synthesize ideas, whereby giving a lot of analysis, pushing out and taking away a fantastic tips as well as the strategic plans which would be the pillars for the strengthening our nation as a whole. Thank you very much for being with us. I personally thank all the guests, Mr. Mahesh Krishnan from Bangalore, Dr. Sentamarai from Tamil Nadu, and Dr. Sonal Gaur from New Delhi, as well as uh, Tarandeep from New Delhi, and Lakshmi Prasad ma'am from Tamil Nadu, Arya Padmam madam. Actually, she's from Trivandrum, staying in Vijayawada. I thank all the participants cutting across the globe who have taken initiative, who have believed in us that remold would give a kind of edge to remold yourselves in 2021. We, being the humans, do not have anything except helping each other. This is the kind of program. Sharing is caring. Similarly, we would like to find the joy of giving some knowledge and wisdom. Thank you very much. Before you move away from the session, you have one great event to just take a look at. Take a look at this and move away. I thank all of you once again. Let me share this.
Naga.
Thank you so much, Naga.
Thank you so much. Good job.
Bhumika Meribam, please go ahead. What's your point?
On this, but my personal view, as the previous participant was saying, I don't see, people have become complacent with all the preventive measures, and they don't care about mask, they don't care about social distancing. See, the entire, I think what New Zealand has completely put pandemic to end just by two things: mask and social distancing. I mean, it's a very simple thing we all can follow. We are taking again for a lot of things for granted, and we shouldn't end up again once again for this lockdown, you know. So we should be serious, and government is taking all the necessary steps to help us. So we should help the government to help us back. That's
Thank
all.
you, ma'am. Thank you very much. I thank all of you to just have given your good sign, a kind gesture for us. It's a very great strength for us. Would like to work for your interests, and we will be there. Please kindly keep patronizing our programs. Would be reaching you very soon with different programs. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Naga. I want to add on to what ma'am just said. Ma'am, herd immunity does play its role, but there is a price also which we need to pay for it.
Exactly.
It's not about just my immunity. I might, immune myself. I might have a strong immune system, but what about the people who are in immunocompromised state?
Exactly.
There is a responsibility also which lies on us for others' safety.
I just want,
We have different immunity levels. I think that will affect.
yeah, that is also, and lot of people, those who are doing workouts, they are also affected by, with lot of cases. We are seeing that we cannot take it as that, as we are getting immunity. I'm also having kashayam and all those things stuff, still doing pranayam, this, that and all. We cannot take it for granted. And one more is coming now, upcoming, that is another more, that changing corona or something like that. So
Mutated.
Yeah, new treated. But thing is, three things we have to do. That is washing hands and social distancing and mask. These three, without lockdown, we can go ahead.
Yeah, true.
That's what I feel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, all the guests and participants.
Thank you.
Thank you, Naga, and I wish everybody a happy new year in advance.
Thank you, and Happy New Year in advance to all the participants.
Remold wishes you a healthy, wealthy, and happy new year in the very future, in the near future, in just
Thank
1
you.
week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
We'll share with you the links